Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is an upcoming action role-playing video game that is being developed by an unannounced developer and published by Paradox Interactive. The original title was released back in 2004, and back in 2019 a sequel was teased and then announced. The project has changed developers, lost important staff members, and has been delayed countless times. Let's break down what happened to the title and what we should expect from the game if it ever releases. As always, all the sources will be linked in the description below, so make sure to check those out and support those original writers. And with that out of the way, let's get into what happened to Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. I already have made a video covering everything we know about the game, which is a good introduction to the game if you are only casually following the project. I will link that video down below if you are interested, even if many of the details could change due to another change in developer. In my last video, a release date was still not given for the project, but I thought the game could be released early in 2021, and the Battle Royale spin-off would be released in late 2021. Soon after the video was published, the CEO of Paradox Interactive announced that fans should not expect Bloodlines 2 until the second half of 2021, and the CEO cited the lack of development kits for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X as the reason for the delay, because the game was going to launch on those platforms as well as last generation. And that closes out the news from 2020, and the team was quiet for a few months until they had more news to share. The next big news for the title came in February of 2021. Paradox Interactive gave an update on Bloodlines 2, which said, quote, "Good morning everyone. As you have noticed, we've been keeping quiet for a while. With this in mind, the first piece of news we have for you is to confirm that Bloodlines 2 is still in development. Secondly, we have made the hard decision that Hardsuit Labs will no longer be leading the development of Bloodlines 2, which also means we will not be releasing in 2021 as previously planned. Since we cannot at this time communicate a new release date, we have also decided to stop accepting pre-orders for the time being. This game is very important to us, and it has been an ambitious project from the very start. In order to meet our goals for it, we've come to the conclusion that a change is needed, and as a result, more development time is required. We'd like to take this opportunity to honor Hardsuit Labs for their efforts and thank them for their hard work on the project. The studio has done a tremendous job in laying the foundations for the game, and we hope that you, the community, will also appreciate their contribution to Bloodlines 2. We're thankful for your continuous support throughout the game's development, and we understand how important this is to you, and we'd love to share more with you as soon as we can. We'll let you know what the future development team of Bloodlines 2 will look like." And this was big news for fans who had been waiting for the title and had already pre-ordered and expected the game. And it's also important to note they say Hardsuit Labs is no longer developing the project, but give no details on who this new developer is or if the publisher has even found a new developer. Then in July of 2021, the former writer on the project, Chris Avallone, wrote an article for Medium where he discussed what happened to Bloodlines 2, and he discusses how the project started. It was Hardsuit Labs that created the pitch and approached Paradox with their idea for the sequel. The pitch went well and development was started, and Paradox acquired a portion of Hardsuit Labs. Chris also discusses why he was let go and says his contract was up in 2020 and he was not fired. Plus, nothing that he wrote in the 2 years he worked on the project was being incorporated into the game. He continues and says that everyone he worked with in the trenches, which means the actual developers and not the higher ups, are no longer there as well. And he isn't sure if they were fired, quit, or let go, but for whatever reason, they are no longer at Hardsuit Labs. The article continues and explains why Brian Mitsoda was fired as well, and it boils down to the fact that he was only used as a marketing tool for the project. And if you aren't familiar with Brian, he wrote the story for the original Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. Chris closes out by saying he doesn't know why the project was taken from Hardsuit Labs and what happened to the other staff, and implies that many of the former developers are most likely under contracts where they aren't allowed to talk about the project yet and what happened behind the scenes. This was a very quick recap of his article. I will link the entire thing down below if you are interested and want to read it for yourself. Another smaller story that is related is Rick Schaefer, who is the composer of Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines 1 and 2. He did an AMA on Reddit, and a few notable questions were asked about Bloodlines 2. He says that he can't comment on anything about the project, but does say that when Brian left, the soul of the project left as well, and he teases that someday he will be able to talk about his time working on the game, which reaffirms everything we have heard about the project up to this point. The project was quiet for the rest of the year until September of 2021, and Paradox Interactive posted a press release on their website titled "Paradox Interactive Cancels Unannounced Projects to Focus the Game Development Pipeline." The article says the cancellations are a result of the company's new strategy to focus resources and expertise on proven game niches and projects that minimize risk. Paradox says they have 15 games in development, and a few of those games are Victoria 3, Crusader Kings 3, the Shadowrun Trilogy, and Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Paradox had the opportunity to cancel Bloodlines 2, but decided they wanted to move forward with the project and have been most likely working behind the scenes throughout 2021. Then, in October of 2021, the new CEO of Paradox did an interview with Placera. The interview has been translated, so some quotes might not be exactly what they meant in the original language, but when asked about Bloodlines 2, he said, quote, "When we removed the game from the original developer, we took a long look at whether we should cancel it or continue development. We were prepared to stop production completely, but we received a pitch that was persuasive enough for us to continue with. We have high hopes that this will be a good game that meets our players' desires." He still wouldn't say who this new developer is, but he would say they are very reputable and talented and have made several games before. And he closed out by saying that much of Hardsuit's Bloodlines 2 work would still be utilized. So we'll just have to wait and see when Paradox wants to announce the new developer and when more news is given about the project, so we can get a better idea of how similar this game will be to the version of the game that has been shown off to the media up to this point. One reassuring sign is that they had another pitch by this mysterious developer, so clearly whoever this developer is, they are passionate about the IP and have a vision that won over Paradox, which is similar to how this game started development initially all those years ago. So hopefully 2022 is a better year for the project and we can finally get some solid news for the game, including who the new developer is, when we can expect the game to release, and details on how the game has shifted since the original developer left. Either way, that's where I'm going to end this video, and that should help explain what happened to Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Make sure to like and share, subscribe for weekly gaming news, and I will see you guys in the next one.